3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Human Design Geeks Podcast, a podcast on everything life through the lens of the human design system. We get together every week, putting our hearts and minds in the service of the collective awakening, joined in our passion for the beautiful and profound knowledge of the human design system. Our intention is to educate, bring awareness, and trigger meaningful change in anyone sincerely looking for it. We do our best to make this knowledge digestible and relatable. If this resonates with you, please hit the subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss any of our fruitful conversations, especially today's one. Also, we'd love to hear back from you. So please leave your comments, questions, and anything else you're inspired to share with us in the comment section below. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, we love to hear it. So please do. Thank you for joining us, and let's dive right into it. Today we have a spicy topic, a topic I don't know very much at all about. So I am curious to explore, but this is a topic that is a hot topic for everyone at all times since the Adam and Eve. Today, we are talking about sexuality through the lens of the human design system. And I'm going to bring it right to you guys because I have no clue. I'm going to be learning and asking questions today. Willie, Juju, take it away.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk
Baby,
about
let's
you
talk
and
about
me.
you and me. Let's
It's so
talk about
interesting
all
that
the good.
what a subject as sexuality does, right? It immediately means like, ooh, spicy topic, William spicy topic maybe, but but yeah. I mean, yeah, I think this is we can talk probably for hours about sexuality through the lens of human design because I think that is important to say. I mean, human design is still there's not a truth. It's an experiment to also experiment for yourself how it works for you. This is also the case with sexuality, of course. But yeah, to be honest, you told me this week a little bit that you were curious about getting on this subject, even though we always try to make this conversation go in the flow. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna refresh my memory because I did a course a couple of years ago and I was refreshing that course, and to be honest, I was in it again. I was like, oh, this is such interesting, and even I maybe know 10 or 20% of it because it's so complex, but it is also very, very interesting, and I think it's good. Maybe Juju, I was thinking to maybe if we start about sex, maybe it is good to have like a core start to start from like the defending circuit, like from the sacral and the spleen and the emotions, like the two channels, and to explain like the basics of the human being, like being sex, using sex to produce yourself as a species, but on the other side to have the spleen to the caring of your species, like maybe like the basic how that works in the human design, and then we can go from there to explore the sex, how it works in human design. That was my thing. Maybe it's good to start somewhere. Otherwise, we maybe go everywhere. I don't know, Juju, you have maybe an idea also?
Um, yeah, no, that was a good intro. Um, there is so many for me my experience with the sexuality, with the passion, with the caring is one of research, going into the people I've been with, the people I meet, the people that I feel close to, and validating all those connections through the human design body graph. So that's the fascinating thing.
You love doing that.
So maybe yeah, I'm a scientist. 1-3, baby.
Yes, baby. You are going down
So
deep into the rabbit hole.
yes, somebody I have to sacrifice for all of us, and I'm doing it for you and
Thank you,
me.
baby. Thank you. Thank you, Juju.
Should I share the open
Yeah, maybe that's a good idea.
to
Yeah.
start?
And for our viewers, whoever's watching, if you are having trouble seeing this clearly, please put your video on HD so that you can actually see the chart clearly.
That's very good. So maybe Juju, to start off, I think uh, to maybe like the sacral, to connect the sacral with the emotion and the sacral with the spleen, because these channels, it's called in human design the defending circuit. It's interesting why he is calling it defending, but he's probably has a good reason for that. But when he starts off with the sexual manual, which I'm gonna give you, Marta, after this, after our first class of sex and human design, because it's very interesting material.
Good a
So,
lecture.
yeah. So what he is explaining here is like the sacral. I mean, the sacral and the solar plexus. If we talk about sex, these are the most important places to find sexuality. So you have the sacral, and we talked about the sacral already in our former human design talks. And the sacral is the life force energy. It has the raw life force energy. It responds on life, or to have the energy for it or not. And there also is the way of sexuality is working in there. And it all starts actually a little bit from the 59. And I think, Juju, if we go talk about the 59, I'm going to definitely let you speak because you have the gate of the 59. But the 59, that is a very important gate. If we talk about sexuality, this is the gate of sexuality. So the 59 gate is literally called the gate of sexuality. And it's where you reproduce, it's where you create fruitation, fertile. It is the place where sex is coming from in the way of mating, like producing, mating. And if you have the six with it as a channel, it's the channel of mating. So this is the channel of, well, just having sex and reproducing babies. If we just talk very black and white, this is the place where we, as a human being, are reproducing in a way. And that doesn't mean if you don't have it, you cannot reproduce, because maybe you think now, if you look at it, wait, I don't have the channel. That
You
doesn't
don't
mean
have
it, but it is because you use it in all kinds of ways. But it is, but in that channel, that is the sexuality. And I'm gonna give the talk to Juju to talk about the first gate, the 59, because he has it in the 5, the 59-5, and we're gonna talk about all the lines because I searched it up today, and we need to talk about this because because the 59-5, the Casanova. Yes, Juju, it's called the Casanova. But talk about us.
Really?
Give us the 59. Let's talk about the 59. Like, how do you experience it, and what do you find about it?
Well, thank you for identifying that I am the start of the sexuality with my 59. I don't know. I mean, I guess for me it's normal, but the 59 and in fifth line, which is the line of the messenger, the Casanova, it's like I have it hanging in a open center because I'm a, you know, uh,
Projector.
projector. And so for me, it's like this, and it's conscious.
Yeah, it's like this. You have an open sacral center.
Open sacral center, and it's
Yeah.
connecting and it's looking to connect because
Yeah.
I also have these two.
Yep.
So it's looking to connect to the six, and the six is like the gatekeeper. But somewhere in my DNA or my mechanics, it's like I feel like I know what the other person needs to break down the barrier. The 59 is like breaking down the barrier, the emotional barrier that is like the gatekeeper of creating a emotional relationship, a deep connection. It could be in business, it could be in friends, but it's also could be intimately. And I can tell when I meet a girl who has the sixth line on the other side, also hanging, and then mine is hanging. If there is a connection, you can feel like a fire inside myself. I can feel a fire, and also for her, we both can feel a fire. Uh, and it's just a magical gate. I recommend it for everybody.
I feel
Oh.
bad. I don't have it. What does that mean?
Well, it doesn't mean you have it does mean you don't have a consistent energy of that how that works. And that doesn't mean you don't know it because yeah, you probably I don't know your love life or your sex life, but you probably have met a man or that maybe had that or not. So you there are ways to have that way of feeling about it. But what I think what Juju was explaining very well is like the six. So the 59 is the penetration, right? If you just talk like penetrate, to go through something. And like if we talk about penetration, you immediately think about real penetration, but it is also penetrating, also what Juju is saying, like in business, in friendship, like to be fruitful, to penetrate through. But if you don't have the six and you don't, the six needs to be the barrier, it needs to be open to be fruitful. Otherwise you're penetrating to nothing, right? And what I read this morning, which I love, the sixth gate is also the connection to our pH of our body. And the pH needs to be it's the barrier, it's the protecting barrier of our genitals, right? So the pH knows it makes connection if it's opening correctly or not. So you can imagine, I mean, unfortunately in the world, there's also a lot of penetration which is not,
Correct.
in a consent way or like opening up truly because the penetration is going like not really opening it up, but it is forcing opening it up. So that is also where problems are coming from. Like you can imagine if your pH is saying no, actually this penetration is not good for me, then but it will, but you do it and it opens up. You probably have problems with your genitals. You probably get. I thought he was also talking about psoas. Is it also psoas in English or is
STDs, STDs.
STDs? Yeah, yeah. So you
Yeah.
get like problems, or because you're actually not opening up proper. You're not. It's not. Your body was not saying like, your pH was actually saying, I protect you. This is not a good penetration for me, but you still did it, and their problems are occurring, right? So very interesting. So he's saying when everything is correct, so when the penetration is correct, when the opening up is correct, there will be no problem at all. So there will be no, you will not have any problems with your pH, with going problems with your genetics, so genitals. So I thought it was very interesting. But how do you know when you're correct or not, right? That's a really trust of your body, and like, and then it always comes to strategy and authority. So if if it's a real yes with this person or not, as a responding of a generator, for example, or maybe a splenic projector who is like intuitive feeling, oh, this doesn't feel right for me, this person, but still goes on with it. Probably there's something going wrong. But yeah, so that channel is the channel of mating, and that is a very important channel if we talk about sex. And why did you? I wanted to show you the other channel, so the the channel of nourishment, actually, the 5027. Why these channels are so important? Because if you penetrate correctly and you make sex correctly, you make children, if it's all going correct. So you get your family, your tribe, but to nourish your tribe, to take care of your tribe, that is on going on the other side. So if we and we can also make an episode about caring, because the spleen, what we talked about, the spleen is all about, being safe. It is intuitive of, is this good for me or not? But it's also about caring. So if I talk about myself, for example, I'm also an open emotions. I have my sacral though, but I don't have a real gate which is giving me this kind of sexuality, which maybe Juju experienced a lot of time in his life, like all the time feeling like sexual, or that is the energy he's got in himself. But for us Marta, it is maybe coming on and off, or then more than the other day, or like it is not consistent in a way. But for me, the spleen is working for me in a way of making bonds or connection. For me, caring is very important. So if I can care, if I can take care of a person, I get sexually excited. So that is my place where my sexuality is going up. So for people now who are listening, and I thought it was for me an eye opener, and when a couple of years when I did that sexual course, for me it
Oh,
was an eye opener that, oh, so I it is normal for me to have weeks or days that I'm not feeling that sexual, or that I'm not, I'm not really onto it. But and that caring, if I take care of somebody and then I get excited, and I was like, wow, this is so me, and it gave me so much more at ease that I'm normal to don't have, like 5 times a week having sex in your relationship, like if people who are saying this, I mean, probably they have something in their design which they make them, go more and more. But a lot of people don't have it. So I always found it interesting, like how much sex do you have in the week in a relationship, all these kind of things. So yeah. So
Oh, and
this is the. Do you have questions about this, Marta?
yeah, this makes so much sense. And I was wondering if you have the full channel or you just have the gate 50.
Gate 50,
And
yeah.
I immediately went, as you were talking, to see if I had gate 50, and I have the gate 50, and it's unconscious, I can see, but for you, it's both conscious and unconscious.
Hmm.
But it's such a great insight because I think it's like when you're talking about it, I'm like, yeah, definitely. It goes with caring for me, through caring. And yeah, I don't know. Let's explore. I feel like it goes with caring for and being cared for, with that, just the where the mutual care comes together.
Uh-huh.
But definitely for me it was the how to say, it's one of the ways also to show care, to show love.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that like instinctual animal drive. It's not like that.
Hmm.
Or it feels like loving care.
Absolutely, yeah. So because you have an open emotion, and maybe we can make the step to the emotional center, because the emotional center is actually the most important thing if we talk about sex. Because the sacral is the sexuality in a way of reproducing. But if we talk about passion, if we talk about, tribal marriage, if we talk about experimental sex, all these desires, passion, all these things, this is all happening in the emotional center. So if we talk about that particular way of having sex, for example, and for Juju, he has an emotional center, so it is always on. It's consistent going. For us, it's open. Juju is making a beautiful lines about our designs. So we have this open emotions. So for us, we don't have this consistent passion or excitement or experiment, or and for Juju it is always on. That doesn't mean he has that specific all these kind of things, but for him the 49, for example, the 4919, sensitivity, tribal, touch, for Juju, like touching, and it's very important for him, like with the body, like always, yeah, you never met him. Did you met him in real life? Actually, never, right? So, but if you gonna met Juju, I mean, like if I mean, he's coming back to Holland in a couple of weeks, but and we're gonna do a dance, but we probably will, like cuddle, and like he loves
Oh, it's
to
great.
he loves to have that, experiments of, because that is the way of his emotion, and his sexuality is working in that way. So maybe it's good, because I wrote all the things down. Maybe it's good to go into the emotional center and to talk about all the gates coming out and coming through, because all the gates have a specific way of how it works. But maybe Juju, you want to elaborate on tribal, individuality, and collective, because these three are the three ways of sexual experience. And I know
Uh,
you
but
know
but yes, of course I can talk about passion. It's very good.
it.
So let me ask you, because now we have these three charts together like this, and I really like it because it kind of shows like how we are connecting also. Do you feel more passionate after we talk together? Because even though we talk right now online, there's still like some sort of an energy connection, Sometimes I'm feeling super high on my wave and I'm little making jokes and I'm really like, how do you manage the after juju effect, like energetically in that sense? Or do you notice anything like that?
Well, it's a good question. I think it for me personally, it is when I met a person in person, it is way more feelable than
Mhm.
online. But I can of course experience, but I don't linger on so much anymore afterwards. So when I didn't know human design, I was like way more busy with these feelings I got when I met a person, or I was like confused, or I had this passion inside, or I was like, also sometimes feel a little bit like even penetrated when somebody didn't do anything, but you can feel like something hit me. I don't know what, like, but I now, because I know it's not me, I can, let it go through me easily, and I'm getting faster into, neutral way. And online is that a way. But if we're gonna meet each other, Juju, and we're gonna dance again, I will probably have, the aftermath after that. But you also with my sacral, right? So you will go down at home, and you were like, oh my God, I thought I was a generator, and I thought I had all this energy. And so yeah, so I think in person I feel it more, definitely. Um, and it can go all ways, right? Because like now we talk specific about sexuality, but the emotional center has all kinds of, you know, um, how it works and how do you
Streams.
feel it, streams, and also it's not always in the way of sexuality. It's also sometimes just I want to not have the confrontation about it and just clean everything up. And are you feeling well? Are you doing okay? Can I do something for you to to remove that energy, to remove that emotional wave? That I always have still every day, like when I meet people or when I'm into this. But that's not particularly the sexuality, of course. Do you
Mhm.
notice it, Marta, yourself? Because you have a fully open emotion center, which is that you don't have any, yeah, like not a filter of dealing with this kind of energies. Do you see that in your life?
Particularly, well, Juju, the question was, what's the after feel, right? Or the
Uh,
the during and after feel with the interactions with you, and are you referring it to the gate 59 specifically, or
well,
your emotional?
the 59 is going to be activated with you guys, so that's more like my experience. But for you, it's mainly like how you deal with that open emotion. And if you look at Willie, he's got the 55, so in a way, he's gonna deal with it like with provocation, with the voice, with like something in his voice is gonna be activated. But for you, it's like you can be overwhelmed. It can be like really like, hold on, you know, oof, I don't want to deal. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go in my own space. I don't want to deal with and not just with me, with everybody. And for me, I'm coming in, you know, this interaction, and I'm like hypersensitivity, tribal touching. I want to touch people. If I cannot touch like this, I want to touch energetically, penetrate. It's penetrating, like how you met me. We remember when we met in Bali, Willie, and then it was like immediately like super penetrating energy.
Yep.
Uh, so do you notice anything, or do you maybe you don't need to, you can avoid confrontation and truth right now if you want.
I can definitely. I'm just not sure I'm understanding the question correctly, because like I'm thinking we're talking about sexuality, or so now I feel confused. Like, are we talking sexuality or emotions in general? But with emotions, definitely I can relate with Willie, where sometimes I feel like, oh, I need to fix their emotions. I need to fix, how do I make you feel better? How do I fix this? How do
Yep.
I, if you're uncomfortable or if you're down, I feel the discomfort of being down and I
Yep.
want to fix it.
Yeah.
I want to fix it, but lately I've been learning to sit with it. It's
Yeah, because
okay.
you want to get rid of it. That is actually a thing. You actually want to get
The
rid of it.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And so
And
that says something about me and my open emotional center, and I am feeling comfortable, uncomfortable with that. And so I'm like, how do I fix it? How do I fix it? And where I'm coming now, I'm like, you know what? I don't fix it. There's nothing to be fixed. Everything is perfect and it's beautiful the way it is. And so that's the aftermath of it. And just learning, embracing more and more this, I mean, I can't say it's comfortable still,
No, it is.
but
And it's never gonna be.
just be moving towards, the more I recognize it, the more I move into it instead of, you know. But I can say that sometimes, for instance, I met a person recently, and I'm so curious about their design, but they're very like open and like straightforward, like and affectionate and stuff like that. And I'm like, I feel like I've always been somebody, if I even if I have the feels, like I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna hold on for long enough until I feel safe to express. So whenever I feel somebody who's like expressing and showing and like that, I'm like and then again, I'm learning to mm, feel the overwhelm of it and communicate it clearly, okay, I'm not gonna run. Well, the first reaction was always run before, right? And I used the techniques like ignoring, ghosting, stuff like that. I just couldn't deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I am conscious of it and I consciously stay in it. And instead, I'm learning to communicate what I feel and communicate like some boundaries and stuff instead.
Yeah.
But it definitely can feel overwhelming sometimes. Yeah.
But I love your response, because the first thing you said is like, I don't want to deal, like you're like, well, is it sexuality or is it emotions? It's like you haven't made the connection. It's like, and it's your design. It's like, no, but it's sexuality or is it emotion that we're talking about? Because I'm lost. I mean, what is going on? And then I'm thinking, wow, like
Well,
it's yeah, the link of the emotion, passion in French.
Oh, see,
Passion is
passion.
like it's like, and maybe it's interesting to say in the body graph, this is the warmth of passion, and this is the coldness of caring, of logic,
Yep.
and that's one big difference, for both of you, caring, taking, really feeling safe. Although it's interesting because you do have your spleen activated, so feeling safe, feeling cared for, but not understanding the connection between emotions and sexuality. So it was really and how you described also how now you're more, you want to fix it, because this an open centers means you're here to be wise about this and you're here to heal the people. But of course, it doesn't mean you need to heal everybody, but it's your natural, genetic, mechanical, I feel I have to fix it. I have to fix it. But it's not about doing it. It's about waiting for the right time, because also there's a timing issue, because the 59 wants to penetrate and the 6, is the gatekeeper. So it's like at the right time. There's no good or bad time. That's the correct time. It will open. The gates of hell will open. I mean, the temple will open. I mean, the love will open. And for me, that's my struggle. I'm always like, it's about timing, because I'm looking for that 6, but I'm like, I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Meanwhile, this part of me is like, hey, chill out, Is she really aligned with your values, with your principles? And it brings to the three streams of emotion, because since I'm the only one with emotional defined center, I feel I have the street creds to talk about this. So let's talk about passion. As your resident passion uh, expert, you want to say something, Marta?
I wanted to ask you actually if because it's interesting what you said that your 59 is always like reaching and feeling this urge like where is it like now I want it now, I want it now, is it what it you meant?
It's not so much I want it now. It's not a want. It's more like I see a somebody I like, and
Yeah.
there's like a sort of invitation, and I feel like, ooh, bubbly inside, because my sacral just gets super activated. And then by getting activated, then suddenly this guy is like, this little army guy is like ready to serve. And it's like, oh wow, there's somebody who's like potential mate, because this is about penetration, but it's a start of life. It's about to start something. So it's like, okay, let's make babies. I mean, not figure, tech like, but like let's practice. And so it's just, and then suddenly I feel all warm everywhere, and it's like, hey, baby, like, and and then it's like I have in the fifth line, it's like, oh, I have solution for you. I know what you want. I'm here to get you out of crisis. Hence, the sexual healer archetype, or that can happen to that in that space, because you see a wounded soldier that needs like a six that needs healing. You're like, okay, I know what it's very easy. Then once the gate is open, then the healing can happen very easily. At least that's my experience. But so did that answer your question?
Well, I didn't ask the question.
Oh,
Terrifying. My question was because when you speak about that, I feel like I kind of feel something similar, but with the through caring with the gate 50, and I wonder if this could be the case.
Um,
exactly.
well, absolutely, of course, it can be the case. But it is, yeah, we can go into that channel in that gate thing, because I think what is interesting, because you also mentioned in your when you were talking, Marta, about what I also love, and maybe it's good to talk about the lines also a little bit, because in the lines you are a 4-1, right? So like to have that fourth line, it is always about, wait, I need to first figure out if this person is really my DNA also. Is it my community? Is it my, like the fourth line is always first friendship, then sex. That is a fourth line theme. So for you, it is very large. So that's why lines are also important when we talk about sex. But the first line, it is about pursuing or being pursued. So for you, in your case, being that fourth line, consciously, mind, mental, you know this. Like, yeah, oh, that's a nice person. Yeah, I first need to figure out, is it my same community, is my same DNA. Let's first become friends, take time. Let's do another date and do another date. And then maybe at one point you're like, hey, I trust you. I think this is, and underlying of that, it is the confident or not. I just read it this morning. So you need to be confident enough to be in that space of, okay, this, I trust this, right? But the first line, the body, it is about being pursued or the pursuer. So, so you can imagine that the body, when you meet somebody and somebody is like, oh, this is an interesting person, because he's feeling this first line body, is like, I'm going to pursue this girl. I'm going to pursue this girl, because your first line is doing this. So, there is this way of also how your body is working. Like, you like in a way to be pursued, and also to may sometimes to pursue, but it is in the body working there. And then you can imagine on the other side with your mind, the fourth line is like, yeah, 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 take it easy. I need to know if this is a very interesting contradiction, right? So this is probably what's happening with you a lot. And that is also that's why lines are also very important to talk about in sexuality, because that is also a way of bonding or to open up, like and in your case, because this is maybe a little bit difficult stuff, but you have that 39, the 39 1. So if your root, the 39 1, the 39 is pointing towards the emotional center, right? And because you are a 4-1, and because you have the 39 1, that means the one is there, it's recognizing, it's the same. And I wrote this down. For you, the 39 is about needing sexual attention, and it's about teasing. So probably you like teasing. And teasing is like, yeah, I know that, Marta,
Gate of flirting.
what?
That's the gate of flirting.
Yeah, the flirting, teasing, right? So, and it's also provocation, and it is like you like the teasing part, but the teasing
Yes.
part, and if somebody's coming to you and you like the person and this guy and like, oh yeah, and he's teasing a little bit with you, he's pursuing you, and like this is your opening up. This is your opening up. This is where your sexuality is going into working place, right? So, and that for everybody has a different place where it is, like working. For example, like for Juju, yeah, I think it's with the 19. It's about flirtation, also sexual resources. It needs to be, and also his principles. So if this girl is coming to him and he's feeling this, that she has the same kind of principles as he is, sexuality in sexual way, he's like, this is interesting. This girl, she has the same principles as me. Now and then, he's going into this thing. And that is why you're opening up sexuality is opening up, or when you are getting more into tune. And for me, because I don't have anything of this, for me, it's going to the splenic side, and that's why the 50 for me, because the 50 for me is there going into like the same. It is about values. It is about caring. So for me, it is when I find a person who is like, when we talk and we talk about, what are your values? It's not about passion. It's not about experiment. It's about, values, like like not principles in a way, but values for the family, for the, and if I found this kind of, oh yeah, then I'm like, ooh, this is a nice person, right? So it's always for me about in the talking, like for me also with my wife, she's like, we have such the same way of values, and how we talk about our relationship, and it's so important for me, and that's why I get also horny. It's just how it works. And for you, Marta, it's more like, teasing and provocation. But yeah, you can imagine, like, as a fourth line, you still need to, okay, yeah, we're teasing, but you're not getting me immediately. You're not getting me immediately. And that is very important for you.
But the not getting me immediately part is really about, because the values thing is so important for me too.
Yeah,
I was
you
just
also have a 50, right? Yeah.
the other week, last week, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was basically sharing and expressing, because when I don't feel this, and I think this is going back to the 4-1, the foundation is that network. The quality of the network is this foundation. So the knowledge, foundational knowledge and foundational network. So, and it has to be, or this is what I'm coming to learn about the 4-1, it has to be, the 4-1 cannot thrive in a one-way situation. It has to go and come back. If it doesn't come back, I'm sorry, I just feel drained. I cannot. I'd rather step away from this.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel good, fulfilling, supporting. And that's so important for me. Values. Do we have mutual value of caring for each other?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's also very important. The teasing part's so spot on. It's so funny. So funny. Like how you know,
Well, yeah. Well, the funny part is when I did a couple of years, I did this course, and then I was like always, trying to get the design of the girl, or and then I could see, what is her opening? I mean, it's terrible, but it's like, oh, okay, she likes flirting, or she likes teasing, or she likes, and that's not for everybody the same. It is, like some people hate teasing or flirting. They're like, oh, leave me alone, right? or somebody just needs to, really onto it, like the experimental way, sexual hunger, passion, say, do you like, I like to have sex with you, like under the stairs here, or, like in the woods, or, like these people, 36, 35, 30, all these desires. It's like these people have the experimental way, these people, can have sex everywhere and they love it, like in the car, but yeah, if you don't have that in your design, I mean, it's not natural for you or to have that, and you can imagine if you met a person who has this and he's like, oh, I like this in the car here right now, and you don't have it at all. It's like, that is not opening up. So, but if you have that same kind of connection somewhere, it's like, and that's yeah, that's the magic of sexuality and opening up, and also just be productive of producing children, because that is our genetic way, is that we want to produce. It's, yeah, we can, you know it is just the way we are created. So so yeah, yep. It is
Yeah, sex.
this is funny, yeah. But maybe to elaborate a little bit on to make it a little bit more clear, the tribal, the individual, and the collective circuitry. Maybe Juju, you can go on it,
Yeah.
and because I
So
think
the
it's, yeah, good to say that,
yeah,
man.
the tribal circuitry starts 59.6, and then also the 19 to the 45, 49 here, and the 37 to the 40, the channel of community. So this is tribal. This is very touchy-feely. This is like walking hand in hand, not needing to talk. It's like you're mine, I'm yours, tribe.
Tribal, yeah.
And
It's
then,
I also like
yeah.
the way of the bargain. So the marriage is also in here. Like the
Mm,
40, if you have a 40-37 channel, so from the emotions to the willpower, if you have that channel, then it's for them. I don't. It's very funny because these people are in relationships and they're like, okay, you throw out the trash and I do the dishes, or like there's always this kind of bargain way. It's always like I do that, okay, then you do that, right? So that is like the bargain way. But what I love when Ross talking about these people is like, it is the lights off sex. So it is, it's the marriage. It is, we agreed on, we have this relationship, we are hand in hand, we marriage. But it's, if we have sex, it's just happening, lights off, you're just sleeping, waking up, oh yeah, we need to have sex because we are having this marriage and we just need to do it. So let's get on with it and go on. And yes, we did it. Okay, great. And we go on with lives. It's like the lights of sex. I love this analogy. It's like touching, it's happening, but it's also the prom. It's also like, we have this promise to each other. It's the marriage. It's, the bond it's the community, it's the tribal. We have this bargain with each other, and it's just how it goes. So if you have that, if that more in your channel, in your chart, then for you, like marriage is important, to have the promise is important, to, like more have that kind of way of how that structure works. So that is the tribal, yeah, indeed.
Would gate 40 make you want somebody promise something and keep their promises to you?
Um, so what I wrote about, because I wrote all the gates, he's describing it. I think it's funny. I don't know if we go now in maybe in a topic, Martin, if you don't want to talk about it. But you have the gate 37, is it's about sexual affection. It's about cuddling. It is about, like, but there's always an opposite. And the 40 is more about sexual denial, and it's more about masturbation. So he's talking about that the 40, if you have the gate 40, it's more about, yeah, I need to have my own, joy. So probably, I don't know, you don't have to talk about it, Marta, but it could be that as a gate 40, that masturbation is maybe a very
I,
important.
I just want to immediately say, because I know how to do it.
Well, yeah. So that is interesting actually why you say it, because like if I don't know why he's calling it sexual denial, but it is of course, it is the affection on the other side, and it's always the opposite, right? It's always binary in human design, so it's always like one side or the other side. So the gate 40 is also the gate of aloneness, right? And the 37 is the gate of the family. So if you talk about that, like, it is both sides. But I think you have, you're yearning for the 37 because you have the 40, so you want the 37, so you want the sexual affection, you want the cuddling, you want to have that is something you want to combine with. So probably when you meet a person with that, and it's very interesting now to go off your list of all your ex-boyfriends, like where did all this happen, and that's very interesting to do actually. But
I
yeah.
know I do it. I've done it.
Yeah, so that is what I wrote down about the 40. And then
Yes. So interesting that you say that. Because it's yeah I read something about 40 that it says like it's the hard worker, it's the one that wants to provide for the family and
yeah,
like care for the family and blah 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 blah.
yeah,
And but it's yeah, I've never heard of it in the context of sexuality, and it's funny. And for me, in the context of sexuality, it's so spot on that for me it's always been like if I have to teach him how to please me,
uh-huh.
so unsexy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
I'm like it's turning off, you know?
yeah.
So I'm like I'd rather do it myself.
Oh, yeah. Well, why not? I mean, like but in a way, why not? Right? It's not a bad thing though. Yeah, why not? I mean, but still, I mean, there are also ways of connecting with guys they probably just know. But still,
But
yeah.
is touch for you also important? Like, is it because
Touch,
I
yes.
have the 1949, so for me, touch is like in the 59. But you just have the 40 in an open center. Like, touch remains very important. But in a way, also by having this completely open, every relationship is going to be very different, right? The
Yeah, that's true.
passion, the emotions.
That's true. Yeah, you
Yeah,
don't
but
have.
touch definitely. When I love, when I'm in love, I show affection through touch. Like I also want to cuddle, I want to hold, I want to touch.
Yeah,
It's definitely very important. And when there is a disconnect and there's no touching, it feels almost like it feels emotionally, I don't know if emotionally, psychologically painful if there's no touch there. Total disconnect.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I
I know
think.
that's why I cannot do long distance relationship. I mean, I finally realized it because
Yeah,
I need the touch. I
of
mean, it's
course,
like
of course. Yeah, yeah.
so that's
Absolutely,
why I
100%.
miss
Yeah.
Willie. I need to see you to touch you in dancing and to be like,
We will be going in a couple of weeks. We will make a video of that and then put it on our HD Geeks channel. But yeah,
uh,
so this is the tribal. So you talked about the tribal, and we talked a little bit about the 49-19. So it's about principles, having your principles, and also the flirtation in the 19 and the resources. So that's all tribal. And if we talk about Juju, you can go on with the individual and what it
but
means.
maybe we should save that for the next episode due
Oh,
to time constraint,
yeah, what could be?
unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if we dive into this voice of the individual, and especially with
Oh
Marta here,
yeah. Oh
we're gonna
yeah.
have like 1.5 episode on that.
What is it? I want to know now.
I
Why would you do
understand.
that
Yeah,
and leave
but
that?
it's like a nice teaser, you know. It's
You
like, oh my
just
God, individual. What?
you
What? I
just
want to
have
know.
to listen with the voice. And it's all about the left ear, baby. It's all about the left ear. Talking in the left ear. Ah, how you doing? Great. Ah, I like this. That is all
Serious?
about. This is this is where we're gonna stop. In the individual, it's all about sound, baby. It's all about sound.
Really?
Yes.
That makes sense.
Of course. Of course. I'm a 55. I'm a 55. If I mean if I have sex with no sound, it's like for me it's like I don't understand it at all. It is for me immediately like I stop. Because I need to have the sound. I need to have something that is, it's triggering me and it's like begin, it's just for me very important. So
do you have to hear it, or is it also about making sound?
making sounds, yeah, but it's not you. It's about hearing. Yeah, yeah, it's about hearing. It's not about making sounds. It's about hearing sounds. So if it's dead silence, it's like for me, in my past when I had, and it was like I couldn't I just didn't understand it. It was like, ah, and it immediately goes like this.
Yeah, it makes sense because I had a French-speaking ex. Oh my
Uh-huh.
God, an extra layer of pleasure.
Yep.
Wanted-
Ooh la la.
Can you just? I don't need to know what you're saying. Just speak French to me.
Yes. Yes. It's sound, baby. Okay, we're gonna continue in the part two because Juju needs to have a
A
kind of
goodbye.
goodbye party. But I love this like being a second part because people are now on their edge, and they're like,
Yeah.
yes, they're like, oh my God, this is gonna be the best episodes of our whole HD
The
Geeks.
next episode, we're gonna talk about me.
Yes,
Yes.
Oh, looking forward to it.
let's tease.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we are wrapping up for today. We're letting Juju go. We're saying our words of gratitude. Thank you, everyone, for staying with us today. Come back next time if this was fruitful and exciting as it was for us. Please leave your comments, ask your questions, write whatever you like to write. We love to hear from you. And so, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao, bambinos.